Okay, so we have reached the video in which we explain how to add new people to our database. The first thing to do, of course, is to choose the name you wish to add. For example, I chose from the directory of alumni of the American University of Beirut this doctor, Tom Shafiq Hanna. You can see all his details here, and I will enter them into the database. The next thing we all have to do is to check whether this person already exists in the database. This is to prevent duplications. Click on the search icon and choose people from the menu. In the new screen that appears, we will run a search. We will check both first and last names, and of course cross-reference them. I strongly recommend that you check different versions and use different spellings of the same name, to make sure. This person is in fact not in the database, so I can move on to the next stage, that is to click on the Actions menu, and under Add, click on Person, which is already highlighted in red for you. The next page is where I create a person. A few important things about this page. Wherever there is a red asterisk, like here, means that this field is required and has to be filled in order to go forward. Another thing, under some fields like here are comments highlighted in orange. You should read them carefully, as they will help you understand the logic of these fields and explain what to do and what not to do. And the last thing, the text at the top, highlighted in yellow. Here you have the symbols used for Ain and Hamza in the common transliteration from Arabic to English. You can use them as needed, just copy them from here and paste the symbol you want as necessary. Okay, let's begin. The first field, gender, is a required field. You have two options, male and female. In our case, Dr. Shafiq Hanna is male, so I fill in male. If the gender is unknown, the default is male. You can consult your colleagues who may be familiar with various names, but again, if you don't know, the default is male. Next, religion. In the case of Shafiq Hanna, I don't know what his religion is, and therefore I prefer not to fill in this field. If you do know the person's religion, you have options of Jewish, Muslim, and Christian, of course, and also various denominations and other religions. Choose from the list and continue. The next two fields are right to left first and last names. This refers to names in Arabic or Hebrew script. Our person's names are Shafiq Hanna, so I will write that here. And the last name is Tome. We will fill that in the next field. The next two fields are required, Latin first and last names, that is, the name in English in Latin letters, using the International Journal of Middle East Studies transliteration in simplified form, without dots beneath or lines above the letters. If you are not familiar with the system, there is a link to it in our user guide. Make sure that you begin with a capital letter. Now I write the names Shafiq Hanna and then the surname Tome, but I need the Ein symbol, so I go to the top of the page, copy it, and paste it here where it's needed. The next two fields, alternative Latin first and last names, are precisely for names like these, that are spelled in different ways. So as you see in the alumni list, the last name is written differently and Shafiq is spelled with a K instead of the correct Q. So it is important to record these forms of the names too. Why? Because if someone searches using the alumni list spelling, they will still be able to find the person. So alternative Latin first name will be Shafiq in this form with a K. No need to write Hanna again, as there is no change, and alternative Latin last name will be Tome, as spelled in the alumni list. Okay, the next two fields are year of birth and city of birth. We know the year of birth, it's 1911. The city of birth is also known. It's Safita, a place in Syria. And here, please note, this is a closed list. The city has to exist already in the database. I write the first letters of the city's name, and you see that Safita appears in the list. If the city of birth doesn't exist in the database, stop at this point and open a new window on our website, where you will carry out the procedure of adding a new city or place. After creating the city, return to this page and you will be able to add the city from the list. Don't worry, the list will update itself as soon as you create the city, and you'll be able to fill in the field and continue. You can watch the video explaining how to add a city to our database. The next fields are year of death and city of death. I don't have these details, so I just continue on. But like before, you fill in the city of death from a closed list of cities that exist in the database. Profession is a required field. In our case, this is of course doctor, but it is possible that the same person might also be a surgeon, so you can check more than one item from the list. For example, a nurse who is also a midwife, so several items should be checked, and then continue. The next two fields reference photographs. Note that there are two different kinds of photos. The first kind is a joint picture in which there are several people, or a picture of a place where our person appears. Again, this is a closed list, so if the photo doesn't yet exist in the database, you have to add it, and then choose it from the updated list. In this way, the person is linked to the photo. You can add another photo by clicking on Add Another Item. Whenever there is a plus sign to the left of the field, more items of the same kind can be added. Next field, the other photo, is a portrait photo, a picture of the person by himself. Once again, the picture will be chosen from the list. Here again, you have the options of adding another item. The next field is more info. Make sure when you fill in this field that the information you are adding can't go anywhere else. Check this. For example, as shown here, if you know what country the person died in, but not the city, you can put that here, died in Israel. In our case, you can see that Shafiq Hanna was married and had two children, Bassam and Lina. Excellent. There is nowhere else for me to put this information, so I will go on into more info. Note that each item of information has its own line. So I add married here, then click on add another item, and write children, Bassam and Lina there. I simply write the names as they appear in the source I'm using. In this case, I don't have to bother about the correct transliteration, but just copy what is written. And that is our more info. The next field is external sources. What does that mean? If you search the internet and found a Wikipedia entry or found information on a hospital's website about the person you are adding, this is the place for it. On the left, write a concise title, Wikipedia page, or obituary, and on the right, copy and paste the relevant URL. The next field, References, is required. Here you add the source that you are working with. In our case, the source is the alumni directory of the American University of Beirut. This source already appears in the list. As you see, it is another closed one. But again, if the source doesn't exist in the database, it first has to be created and only then filled in from the list. I choose it and under Note, I write the number of the page from which I took the information. That's it, you have reached the end. Here you click on the Save button and save the entry. Before doing so, you should go back to the top and go over all the details you filled in to make sure that everything is correct and that you have made no mistakes. Now you can click on Save, and what you'll see next is the following page that tells you that person Shafiq Hanna Tome has been created. You see the logo, the name, and on the right, the identity card with the name in English, Arabic, and alternative spelling, the year of birth, profession, city of birth, and under more info, you can see that he was married with children, and the source that this information came from. I forgot to mention earlier that there can be more than one source in the references field. If you used more than one source, it can be added there. In the next video, we will see how to add this person's activities, where he studied medicine, where he worked. That is connected to add an activity though. Thank you for watching, good luck, and I look forward to meeting you in the next video.